Now, these images are all of attractive artifacts, I think you'll agree. And the stack is the only place where you'll see them all together, and indeed the only place that many of them are available at all. But so far we've left out the role they really play. This is where the stack fulfills the third academically more important requirement of PRTLI funding, namely to constitute a significant contribution to frontline scholarly research. How does it do that? Well, largely by being built around something not mentioned so far, namely Ludwig Bieler's canonical edition of the original Latin of the works of St. Patrick, most recently republished in book form by the Royal Irish Academy in 1993, and incidentally on sale here this evening in that form for the reduced price of €20. Bieler's edition constitutes the central pillar of the stack, the lift shaft, if you like, connecting the different layers and many relevant external sites by means of some 10,000 hypertext links. Here's the first of the 62 chapters written by St. Patrick. And here on the left, over there, are the apparatuses or scholarly underpinnings of the edition that Bieler produced. The point is that, as usual with medieval texts, not all the manuscript readings show exactly the same spellings, wordings, or even passages. So the difficult part of the work of a medieval philologist is not, as people tend to imagine, deciphering the squiggly writing, but rather by triangulation back from all different witnesses, trying to work out how the original non-surviving 5th century exemplar read as it came direct from the author's hand. If you can see it, look at the place where St. Patrick refers to his father. You'll see that Bieler reckons the form of the name that he originally wrote, lit up there in blue in the accusative case, was Calpornium. But if we look at the evidence for this, opening the so-called apparatus criticus, we see that Bieler arrived at his conclusion by triangulating back from quite a variety of spellings actually found in the manuscript, and identifying, as it were, the common denominators. Thus he tells us that the spelling is Calpornium. I know most of you may not be able to see this, but you will be able to at home. The spelling is Calpornium with a U in manuscripts R and F, whereas in the Book of Armagh, as identified by the conventional signal D, it is Calpornum without a letter I after the N. And that match you will find printed in the 1993 book, because that apparatus is printed there at the foot of the page. But where this electronic stack goes much, much further, and in fact constitutes a pioneering piece of digital humanities development, is that we've made those sigla, as they're called, into live hyperlinks that bring you direct to the image of the appropriate part of the appropriate manuscript. In the Book of Armagh, for example, there's Calpornum, there. And see, no letter I after the N, and that's what's reflected here. But it's the link that has brought us from there to this. And one could look at the other two manuscripts and see how they're spelled differently. So in a sense, we've enabled Bieler's brilliant and painstaking work almost to supersede itself. Seeing it presented like this in digital form, it allows everyone direct access to the original evidence upon which it itself was based. Now, you won't be surprised to learn that this exercise in detailed digital hyperlinking, electronic embroidery, one might almost call it, has been vastly labour-intensive to encode, transform, set up and test. Our colleague Randall Crean has provided a technical description of it in the About section of the website. To achieve what it has, the stack has been dependent throughout on the help and expertise of a succession of specialists from the Academy's Digital Humanities Observatory. Pride of place among these, particularly in recent months when panic would otherwise have set in, must go to our friend and colleague Niall O'Leary, present this evening, who with unfailing good humour has not only kept us on the right track, but has made sure there was a right track to keep us on occasion engineering himself when that was necessary. The amount of detailed work that he's personally put in is staggering, and Niall, I want you to know that it is very much appreciated. Not that the expertise in humanities computing has all come from outside the stack, mind you. It was largely because of his knowledge of the field that we recruited Franz Fischer in the first place, and each summer since then, a postgraduate intern who worked with him for 12 weeks. I want to thank UCD's Micheál O'Clery Institute, under its director, our official partner John McCafferty, also here, for their weekly history seminars, which have provided a welcoming academic environment for several members of our team who were new to living in Dublin. And I'm happy to say that all three of the summer interns have returned to be with us this evening. Hayley Humphrey, Alessio Frenda, Daniela Schultz, welcome back. We're very grateful to you for your very significant contributions. Providentially and unexpectedly, this year we have also had 9 months invaluable additional assistance from a fourth intern, Roman Blyer, funded first under the Erasmus scheme and then, like the others, under PRTLI 4. He it is who is expertly clicking the relevant links. It doesn't go as itself, you know. And he played a vital part in helping to design the site and then in organising a team of volunteers to test it using as many different computers and browsers as possible. Most of that team are here this evening, and we thank them too. Like all digital publications, the Confessio HyperStack is to some degree a work in progress. That is in fact one of its virtues. Provided it continues to receive the necessary institutional support, it can be improved and updated and sustained indefinitely. My colleagues from the Dictionary of Medieval Latin from Celtic Sources, Jane Power and Angela Malthouse, have been working on the definitions of St. Patrick's unusual Latin vocabulary. As the editor, it's my fault that the dictionary link on the stack doesn't yet work, but it will. Likewise, colossal work has been done by many of us, particularly including the intern, on the preparation of a very large annotated bibliography drawn from centuries of scholarship on St. Patrick. With more than 1,000 entries and its external links, this is already something unprecedented, but we're not even claiming that it yet constitutes more than a beta or trial version of what we hope will ultimately be a fine publication. And dear listeners, here's where you come in. Throughout this talk, I've been drawing attention to the amazingly large number of people who have actively and willingly contributed content to the project over the 3 years. And that's without even mentioning the vital but less obvious work done by peer reviewers, interviewers, human resources officers, specialist advisors and so on, both volunteers and otherwise. When Frank gave a preliminary presentation to the O'Clery seminar only about halfway through the project, I think we were all surprised to realise that fully half the people in that room were already directly involved in one way or another. By being present this evening, everyone here is now involved too, at least superficially. Please make it more than superficial by visiting the stack and sending me feedback. As I say, the web address is on the back of the booklet, www.confessio.ie, and it is live as of now. If the form so far continues, the further construction and improvement of this site will be a remarkably friendly and friction-free experience. I believe that at least some of this positivity is because of the subject matter itself. St. Patrick's personality seems to have an inherently attractive and inspiring quality which, when it is allowed to come through undistortedly, can serve as a genuine force for happy and peaceful cooperation among those exposed to it. Apart from the written text of Pádraig McCarthy's English translation of the Confessio, the stack also includes an abridged version of it arranged and presented as an audio dialogue by Kate Younger and myself. To launch the stack officially and to symbolise the way in which the national saint can help to integrate elements of Irish society that have at times been at loggerheads in the past, may I conclude by calling upon our special guests, Protestant and Catholic Archbishops of Dublin, Drs. Michael Jackson and Diarmuid Martin, to read for us the testimony of St. Patrick in his own words.